The Arizona Cardinals are signing a quarterback. It's not Malik Willis. We already knew that. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo. It's Gardner Minshew.
Who?
Exactly. Bless you. What that does to the Cardinals quarterback room, who's the starter going into 2026, and are the Cards done at that position? Find out now. We're going to discuss. This is Emergency Podcast, PHNX Cardinals, now. Firing it up for a second emergency podcast. I'm your tank commander, Bo Brock. This is my tank lieutenant, Espo, hanging out with you. There you go. Johnny Venerable might pop in. If not, he'll be with you at 4:30 on the regularly scheduled PHNX Cardinals. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Hit that like button. Get us in as many people's smartphones, computers, wherever you might find your podcasts. As much as possible, the like does wonders. Already lighting it up as we did in the first emergency podcast. Ranger hit us with $200. This time hitting us with half. Maybe he doesn't like this move nearly as much.
I think we're bleeding him dry is what's happening here.
Ranger with a $100 super chat out of the gates. I am from Washington State, and me and my brother are Cougar fans. And he is a Minshew fan, so now he is a Cards fan. Poor guy.
Oh, man. I'm sorry to your brother, but welcome to our pain and our nightmare. The water's warm.
Gardner Minshew, we're going to break it all down as far as the player, the character. He's certainly one of those. Started that kind of journey with the Cougs back in the RIP Pac-12, the olden day, the golden days of the Pac-12. Where you couldn't find him on satellite TV. Kyle Haley also jumping in with a very generous $50 super chat. Bo, make sense of this. Haha, there has to be a better plan than starting Jacoby Brissett. So let's fill the people in. I'm sure you all know. Most of you jumped on this emergency podcast because we all found out together about 15, 20 minutes ago. Multiple reports say the Cardinals have agreed to a one-year, $8 million contract with journeyman quarterback Gardner Minshew. We picked out Schefter's report of the deal. So Minshew is the first quarterback addition post Kyler Murray to that room. And now that room looks like this, Espo. It's Gardner, it's Jacoby Brissett, it's Keaton Slovis, not in really any particular specific order just yet.
I mean, I have not felt this bad since a Cobb Skelton quarterback competition. Like now we're talking Max Hall, Derek Anderson level of talent in the room. Like I know Jacoby Brissett's a nice guy. He's not a starting quarterback in this league. We watched it firsthand last year when he was handed the reins after Kyler was soft benched. Gardner Minshew is not a starting quarterback in this league. This is his sixth team. He hasn't stuck anywhere outside of Jacksonville for more than a couple seasons and playing significant minutes. This is we're punting till next year. We're drafting a guy like is a stash and draft, as in mustache and a drafted quarterback.
Sure.
In this, like I don't understand this move. Wasn't on anybody's radar. Just seems like we're okay with the status quo, and if Gardner beats out Jacoby in training camp, so be it. If not, we've got two backup quarterbacks, which means you have zero starting quarterbacks.
This is the brutal reality for those who were anti-Malik Willis. This is the times we live in. These are the options, and this is where the Cardinals pivoted. And it doesn't do anything to inspire hope into the 2026 season. Now, if you're a team tank, this does maybe put some of that emphasis on that they could be headed that direction. You feel bad for the Cardinals players in the locker room, the playmakers that you want to continue to develop. You've got two backup quarterbacks on your roster. You don't have one starter. And that's the reality of it. And Malik Willis, was there an overpay by the Miami Dolphins? Probably. They probably did, but if they're able to find something that resembles a starting caliber quarterback in Malik Willis, it's going to look like a heist. But as far as where the Arizona Cardinals are in the year 2026 of our football lords, they've got a quarterback room of Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew as their starting options. I think that there are probably 30 other quarterback rooms that are in way better shape than the Cardinals right now. And that's a terrible place to be for any fan base.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that Jacoby Brissett is a starter in the NFL, I have a 1985 Datsun I'd love to sell you for about $8 million if that's where you'd like to be.
It's Gardner Minshew, fun guy, easy guy to root for, right? That doesn't say that this isn't a bad move. And then Jacoby Brissett is the Cardinals' flagship radio station is reporting that that Brissett's going to remain, hold on to the starting reins. It's a guy
How can you say that right now though? Like,
well, just based on who they signed.
I
I mean, I
guess.
think who they signed is a guy that's been, another backup, pretty entrenched as a backup quarterback in this league, and nobody has realistically brought in to take over the starting reins. Like, yeah, sure, like crazier things have happened, but what's shaping up to be one of the sadder quarterback competitions, if that's what it becomes in NFL history. It's really just disappointing. You feel bad for the fan base as they're looking for something to wrap their arms around, and you can't even give them something with the slightest bit upside. You just get, like, you've got two of the league's like quintessential backups. I'll give you that. But you can't go into it like these are your options as far as, throwing the ball to Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson. It's just that's the reality of this move. And Gardner Minshew is somebody that has been able to come in there and spot start. When you talk about Jacoby Brissett as your starting quarterback and trying to spend that to a fan base that was ready to just cash out and not come back until 2027, but try to get them back in 26, you failed in doing so because Jacoby Brissett had 1 win in 12 starts last year. You look at his starting record, and sure, you could be, make the case as far as, QB wins, QB losses, QB record, and how it, goes with what, it's a team sport. Just Jacoby Brissett, the reality of it, he hasn't won enough football games to justify himself as a starter in a 10-year sample. And it's not a small sample size. I think it's proven that Jacoby Brissett is better set to be your backup quarterback. And if you're your starter, you're not in a good spot as an organization.
Yeah, I've been rooting for this team and have watched this team since 1988. I've seen more quarterbacks than I had girlfriends. I've seen the worst quarterback play possible, including a punter named Tom Tupa who started games for this team. This might be rock bottom though, because you thought maybe you'd have some kind of plan. Even Jimmy G, you go, all right, well, at least he has history with Mike LaFleur. Gardner Minshew was not a name on the table, on the radar for anybody. And now that it appears that Jacoby Brissett may be your plan at starting quarterback, are we really going to start Mike LaFleur's tenure the same way we started Jonathan Gannon's tenure, with essentially losing on purpose? I mean, that's the only path you can tell me you're going down when Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew are your options at quarterback. And don't try to tell me, well, if they draft Ty Simpson, no, that's not going to change the equation here. Right now, this is just freaking awful in terms of that quarterback room. And we've seen awful. We know it. And this is it again. I thought that this team could find something more. They cannot.
People concerned about Gardner Minshew, once you get past kind of like just the shock of the idea, like this is your quarterback room post Kyler Murray. This is what you're absorbing, $55 million in cap space. Once you get past that initial kind of frightening realization is, he had what was feared to be a torn ACL in week 16 against the Titans, but further testing revealed it was non-displaced tibial plateau fracture. So he had a break in his knee. He didn't have a torn ligament. So, like, that's better. Like, so Gardner Minshew is going to be available, but does that give you any more confidence? The answer is no. I'm going to answer for you, no. And then where does it put the room in as far as how they're going to approach it the rest of the offseason? I hope they're not done. I mean, I hope that I mean, are we really going to lock in the room at this point? And this is going to be how you proceed forward the rest of the offseason, and then maybe they might ask or take a flyer in the draft. As people have pointed out, like you're going to have to get back into the first round, likely to get a Ty Simpson, and then it's like, do you want to make that investment and then potentially Josh Rosen it if you figure out he can't play, he's not close to playing beyond 26 and into 27. It's just you have the biggest lack of clarity on the most important position in all of sports, that in one of the toughest divisions in all of sports, that the Cardinals, like the fan base, there just might be factions that just check out, because what gives, like Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, what gives you reason to tune in on Sunday?
Yeah, why am I going to take time from my family or whatever else I could be
Right.
doing, wherever else I could spend my money, and instead wind up going and watching these two guys, or one of these two guys, start at quarterback for this team? We've seen this so many times before with this squad, and you cannot win in the NFL without a quarterback. You do not have a real quarterback. Now, I'd imagine they're done unless they're planning on like trading Jacoby Brissett and in some surprise deal and chasing some other
Right.
guy, but I don't foresee that either. So, all right, now it's, yeah, Ty Simpson in the draft. That changes nothing for this year.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he's not going to be ready to start. So you are still going with Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew there, and that's just not going to get it done.
When you think about Gardner Minshew, and as I mentioned, he's made a lot of stops throughout his NFL career. I think his most successful stunt was in Indy a couple of years ago, where he almost went to the playoffs with the team. He had 15 touchdowns to 9 picks, threw for 3,300 yards. The next year, he was in Vegas and played in 10 games, had 2,000 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Probably his first year was probably his best. That was all the way back in 2019, 21 touchdowns to 6 picks. But that was on a team that did not win a lot of football games. Then you think about the ideal situation that he was in last year, being Patrick Mahomes' backup and having Andy Reid as his head coach. And it's like, you can't think of a better situation in the league. And he didn't look good in the sample size that you saw him. He threw a pick in that game before bowing out due to injury. It's just, I don't know. I don't like this move. I hate the direction of this position the Cardinals have taken even further today, based on what I haven't liked as far as their decision making going into moving off of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think fans should start sending boxes to the Tempe facility, just empty boxes, so Monty can pack up his office. Just sent it there, courtesy of Monti Ossenfort, and help him start his packing soon, because this is pretty freaking awful.
We've got, asking, has anybody checked in on Johnny Venerable? Well, let's check in with him right now, joining us live from the Venerable compound. I don't know. You might want to turn the volume down on your browser, because I'm sure my guy's going to come in hot here. Nope. Or the opposite.
Muted.
You got yourself up there? Are we facing technical difficulties?
You got me. Can you hear me?
There we go.
I'm going to come out and say it, like, this is one of the worst days in the history of this franchise. I don't think that that's extreme to say. And you can speculate, like, did we have unrealistic expectations? I don't think so. Monti Ossenfort should have been fired in January. I think that's evident now. To free up $60 million, and this is your solution. There's going to be talk about, like, what part did Michael Bidwell play in this? And all I know is Michael Bidwell fired Jonathan Gannon because people were unhappy with the product and they were concerned about season tickets. So, like, to sit here and say, like, to turn around and say, well, now they're going to tank this season, I just, like, you can't convince me that was the plan after they fired Jonathan Gannon, who was beloved by Bidwell and Ossenfort, hired Mike LaFleur. Like, you can't convince me the plan was, now we're going to tank 2026. Bo and I have talked about it off air. I just don't think Monti Ossenfort is good at this. Like, I
Mhm.
think now we have a sample size big enough. This is a unmitigated disaster to come out with your fan base. It just got reported. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Yeah, this is tough.
Ben Violin of I
Villain.
think Villain, who covers the Rams and or maybe covers the
Pats.
Patriots. I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, the Cardinals were trying to get a deal done with Jimmy Garoppolo before this came out, and then those talks fell apart.
They broke down.
And
Hit a
then
snag.
they pivoted then to Gardner Minshew. Garoppolo would have been unacceptable. I'd be saying the exact same thing.
Mhm.
Like Monti Ossenfort, we just saw him at the combine. We told him face to face, we're rooting for you. We want you to succeed. He has to be fired now. This is unacceptable. I hate coming on here and being fire this person, do this, do that. You cannot allow him to try to shape this franchise anymore. You cannot allow him to pick a quarterback, whether it's this year or next year, to sport a quarterback room. When you've had 6 months, we've all known that you were going to pivot off Kyler Murray. You were shopping him at the deadline. We know that. If this is your plan, this is a fireable offense today. And I am so disappointed. Like, people think, we could be tongue in cheek, and I'm going to scream, I'm sure, a lot on the 4:30 show. I'm legitimately sad and depressed for Cardinal fans that this is the product that a fourth-year general manager who has 15 wins is going to try to sell you. And here's where I'm going to take an even darker turn. If there are people in this market that are trying to spoon feed this to you as acceptable, tune those people out. And they might be people previously that I've respected and they've done good work. If there are people saying Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew is acceptable for you as a Cardinal fan, I would seriously question my ability to consume that product, because you are better than this. This is an embarrassment. And again, I think it's one of the darkest days in the history of this franchise.
Yeah, I don't think Michael Bidwill gets a pass on it either, Johnny, because you had to have had Monty give him some sort of plan so he felt comfortable keeping him in the building when he let go of Jonathan Gannon. And this couldn't have been the plan. It couldn't have been, you know what, we really should go after Jimmy G. We're going to fumble that bag, and then Gardner Minshew is the guy. Like, even to your point, Jimmy G wouldn't have been acceptable here. You bow out because it was too expensive when it comes to Malik Willis. This is one of the worst quarterback rooms we're going to see in Cardinals history. You and I have been rooting for this team since we were kids. This is just pathetic, Johnny.
Yeah, it'll be the worst quarterback room in the NFL. I think
this was their plan C. This was their plan C. Like, when we talk about, Mike Garafolo came on and is like, sure, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. A couple of weeks ago, like, we were ramping up the Malik Willis conversation. It's like, well, it's not just going to be Malik. You got to have a couple guys just based on, you never know what another team's going to do as for come from over the top and make the deal. Well, Malik Willis goes off the board, and then clearly they want to go to Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy, you hit a snag in the Jimmy Garoppolo negotiations. What's the snag? Like, did you tell him like he could potentially start? You said, I don't want to do that. Me? Like, it's the old like little Sasquatch. You've been drafted in the NFL, like me. Like, you want me to start football games in the year 2026? Like, come on, I know better than that. I'm going to stay in LA. I'm going to stay comfortable and continue to date the people I date that is kind of out there in the public space. It's crazy to me to think about that's their plan C, that the pivot was get me Minshew's agent on the phone right now. Let's strike a deal. And then this is going to be your quarterback room, barring maybe adding a rookie in the draft. But we know what this draft class looks like. And it's nothing like, okay, well, why would you even do that with where you're set up right now? Don't touch it anymore. Just set it and tank it.
I feel bad for Cardinal fans. I feel bad for Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, and Paris, and Marv, and like, I'm sure they like Jacoby as a person. Like, I think I saw a stat that like Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew are like 35 and 70 something in their career combined, and it's just this is going to be the saddest year of attendance that State Farm Stadium's ever had, which is really, really depressing. And then when you think about like the notion, again, I hate it, the tanky notion for players that put their professional livelihood at stake every time they play this game, and it's like, we're going to tank because maybe we could get Arch Manning, who, by the way, I would seriously question if he would say yes to this franchise at the moment, especially after, like, the Cardinals are going to have such a PR nightmare season.
Yeah.
And then we're going to say, like, hey, Arch Manning, come get some of this. Or Dante Moore, who looked awful in the college football playoff, come save us. It's just like, Malik Willis wasn't perfect, but I'm going to tell you right now, and Bo, I heard you say it before I jumped on. Malik Willis, for people that scoffed at that, number one, his contract is very digestible. And number two, this is what you get. If you didn't want Malik Willis, enjoy this slop, because it is. It's the ultimate slop. It is basically going into an NFL season with an expansion level team, because I don't care who they take third, who they take 34. They could turn into good players. When you have quarterback play that is universally seen as the worst, they're going to have the worst quarterback room in the NFL. I think the Jets are going to do better than you basically are just telling everybody we do not care. And I something tells me that there was a decision made recently that the sticker shock of Kyler Murray being cut and what they're going to take on, that they were not willing to commit to, reasonable starting QB money because of it. You look at Miami, they're like, whatever we have to do. Like, Miami's not trying to win, but they are trying to remain interesting and viable for their fan base. They don't have Trey McBrides and Michael Wilt. Like, they don't have a Paris at left tackle. And the Cardinals are like, we are actively telling our fans that this is the best that you're going to get at the most important position in pro sports. It's legitimately unthinkable. I can't believe they're doing this.
It's asinine if they're cheaping out again. I know that that's the MO with this team, Johnny, but I'm sorry. At some point, Michael Bidwell needs to learn that you have to spend money to make money, that fans are not just going to accept this over and over and over again so you can line your pockets. You're spending $8 million on Minshew, what, 9 on Jacoby? You got 17 there in your starting quarterbacks between two guys that are going to compete for it. I don't care what you had to eat in Kyler Murray's deal. That's just unacceptable on any level from any franchise.
How about in 164 games, you've got Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett, 37 wins. 37 wins in 164 games between the two of those guys. It's just unbelievable.
I'm at a loss. I mean, legitimately at a loss for words
I think the fan base is at a loss at this point. Like, we expected to take some lumps today, right? We expected, it was probably a coin flip on the Willis thing. Literally was, between them and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins, with no money, fighting way below their weight class, or way above, I should say, they are able to knock the Cardinals out in round one. Like, they handled that. They had Malik Willis in the bag. They figured that out to, like, just nailed that assignment, where they said, we are cap strapped for this year, and we're able to make this a 2-year deal to set us up to be able to at least tell our fan base, and what's going to be all signs pointing to a down year, something that they can tune in each and every Sunday to see how's the Malik Willis experience gonna go. And you've robbed them of anything like that. Now it's just like, hey, just settle in and maybe even just hibernate until 2027, because there's really no reason to tune in. I mean, now it's just like, third overall, do you just trade down and get as many assets as possible at this point? Because no other signs are pointing to, hey, we want to be a competitive team in 2026.
No, and then you think about, like, you trade Josh Sweat at this point? Do you trade some of these older players? I mean, but then you're signing a 26-year-old backup running back who's under 4 yards per carry. I mean, like, at least the Jets, like, we know what their plan is. They traded off Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner.
Right.
Like, they're trying to get all their chips in the 2027 basket. The Cardinals are in the same sandbox as them. They're in the same quarterback market as a team that is trying to lose games or at least strip this down. To free up $60 million
Right.
to
Where's
the
the
sense of
move?
urgency that they had to come out on day one of free agency and to sign one-leg Gardner Minshew and a backup running back is it like, we'll put the quarterback position aside for a second. Like, they haven't signed a guard, they haven't signed a tackle because Monty can't do this. He's getting worked by a quarterback market, and then he's losing out on other free agents in the process. And I'm going to tell you right now, something Bo and I spoke about earlier. The only reason they got Josh Sweat in hindsight is because of his relationship with Jonathan Gannon. Kazir White, his relationship with Jonathan Gannon. This has been a huge indictment of Monti Ossenfort's ability to have contacts in the NFL and to leverage them and to get people to take him seriously. Hell, to get people to pick up his phone call and to take the Cardinals' money. This is a laughingstock. Monti Ossenfort is a worse general manager than Steve Keim, and it is not close. We have wasted 4 years. You're going to ask a fan base that has been tortured since 2021, that has under 20 wins, to saddle up for another horrific season. Right. I mean, that is a joke. And again, we were supportive of Monty. Chef Monty, do what you got to do. Take your medicine in 2023. I don't love these free agents in 2024. Maybe you can coach them up. Your time is up. This is a huge indictment. I hate that I have to say this, but like, this is shocking. It's unthinkably bad, and I feel so bad for Cardinal fans. This is just, it reminds me, I mean, I've said it on our show, like tongue-in-cheek, they are morphing into the Arizona Coyotes. Like, you're telling people you're inept, you don't care about the fans, you don't care about the on-field product, when your division is out here finishing touches of Mike Evans and the Rams trading for corners and the Niners just won, or the Seahawks just won the Super Bowl, and you're out here doing not even the bare minimum. You're out here putting together a roster. By the way, they're not getting the number one pick. Their strength of schedule is going to be too hard. They're going to be picking probably right where they're at now. I just, for all the people, tank this, tank that. It's like, these players don't want to hear that. This is a joke. This whole thing's a joke.
You got to bottom out to a pretty unprecedented level to get the number one pick. I mean, we've seen that. You tied for the worst record in the league this year, and you were third.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to lose a ton. Strength of schedule, you're always going to be up against it because you play in the toughest division. It seems like season in and season out. So the Arizona Cardinals, you have to legit win 1 or 2 games to get the number one overall pick. Otherwise, you can kiss the top quarterback of that class goodbye. These super chats, we got a ton of them. We see you guys, 24 of them. How about we want to get into it? The ones we don't get to, we will get to on our live show at 4:30. How about Red Feather Workshop? Dana Ballknower, is there a mullet clause in the contract? Look, the one thing you can say a lot of things against the Gardner Minshew signing, but the flow, the lettuce, it's phenomenal, and that's about it.
Maybe that's what broke up the Jimmy contract. It was, they said you have to throw a mullet, and he was out.
Indigenous daddy, all this, and we ain't getting love. Shake my head. Look,
we're getting screwed.
It couldn't have been a worse start to free agency, and I was against getting a guy like Love, but like the first signing you had was a running back that basically just torched the ability for you even like entertain Love at 3. That dream is officially dead. So are his future wins in 26. How about Trent Smith? Per Gambo, JB will start and Gardner Minshew will back up. Thoughts? Horrible quarterback room. I mean, you could flip it, you could reverse it. It doesn't matter.
You're not, this is your
also has
plan.
that.
What was your plan for Malik Willis, by the way? Did you say, hey, Malik, we want you to come and compete with Jacoby? And Malik's like, screw you. I'm not considering you. Like, we watched Jacoby Brissett play these games last year, Cardinals. Like, he padded his stats in the fourth quarter. He's a journeyman. He's a backup. You signed him to be your backup last year at this time. We all remember that. That was a thing that happened. And then he came in and lost a bunch of games and put up numbers in the second half, and you were not competitive, specifically in your division, the establishment of a run game might clean up some of those point differentials from negative 20 to negative 10. Congratulations.
Well, in the closer games, I mean,
he was
They
bad.
didn't get it done. They didn't get it done. They made through turnovers at the end. They couldn't convert on fourth down. Now, I mean, like Drew being gone, hopefully there's no 4th and 4 Hail Mary toss when we've got plenty of time in overtime. Steven Jackson. So who are we taking with the first pick in 27 when the Mannings refuse to let Arch play here? That's the thing. Like you suffer another catastrophic season where you put yourself in the top 3 of the draft. Let's say you reach 1. Left in the wake of that are going to be more, for lack of a better word, bodies. Okay, you're gonna, like, if Marvin doesn't develop because you've got backup quality quarterbacks, he's gonna want out. You got other guys who are going to be under contract that sign lucrative deals and say, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for the money, but I didn't sign up for all this losing. As it continues, you are going to face more fallout in 2026 to try to get to 2027. It's going to cost a lot of people's jobs. It's going to cost even more.
You're going to lose fans along the way.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and you can't waste Marv. You invested so heavily draft pick wise, and now you're going to waste this development time and helping him grow. It's a mistake.
Mac Daddy, this is a great signing 3 years ago. How dare Johnny with that Coyotes tweet? But yeah.
I mean, it's really sad. Like, I didn't know much about the Coyotes until I got here. And then I started to watch them and how they operated and how they led their fans on. And this fan base right now is the most tortured fan base in the NFL. I mean, honestly. And for the Cardinals to sit up there and to tell people, hey, we're taking this seriously. We're trying to win. You have the funds to sign Malik Willis. You have the funds to get creative. And this is what the product you're going to get. Like, I don't quite think that they understand the significance of this as it relates to what the stadium is going to look like.
Right.
And it is going to be embarrassing for the NFL, much less the people of Arizona. The NFL is going to watch that product in September, and they're going to say, what is going on in Arizona? And then it's going to start a whole bunch of dialogue that Coyote fans had to deal with, like that we shouldn't have to worry about.
We'll continue the conversation of the fallout, the ramifications of the moves and the lack of moves today for the Arizona Cardinals. Your super chats, we're going to get to all of them. We promise. The 4:30 show, we're up against it in this studio. We got more great PHNX content coming your way. Like that, or like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports if you haven't done so already. Look at Ranger. I got to get to this real quick. $50. Guys, how much has he invested today?
Probably $375.
Unbelievable. 200 in the first show, 100 to kick off this show, 50 more bucks here. I have been telling you guys how bad this team is. The NFL, they could not get NFL coaching, and now the players are saying no, thank you.
I think it's my opinion is I just don't think they're offering money, and I don't think their general manager knows what he's doing. Like, I think we have proof Monti Ossenfort can't do this.
More of that conversation at 4:30. Don't miss it. Plus, hit your socials, PHNX_Cardinals, Johnny Venerable, Bo Brock, Espo, for all the up-to-date Cardinals news and information. Thanks for joining us for this emergency pod. We'll be back at 4:30.
We all silly like the mayor.